All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is 5:33. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. This is the Finance and Audit Committee meeting. Go ahead and proceed with row. Judge Mercurio Martinez.
Present.
Jorge Delgado, present. Tita Vela, absent. And Mr. Esteban Rangel.
Present.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We'll move over to agenda item number 3.
I'd like to make a motion for formal approval on that item.
Let me read the agenda item real quick, Judge.
Oh, thank
It
you.
is-
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's discussion of proposed one-time stipend to eligible Laredo College employees funded by the U.S. Department of Education, Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, and other sources, including discussion of the public purpose served. So at this time, I'm going to refer to legal counsel.
Mr. Chairman and board members, Rusty Muir, Laredo College attorney. The committee is comprised of less than 5 board members, so it's less than a quorum. I understand we may have another board member here with us. That would still be 4. So the Open Meetings Act does not apply when less than a quorum or attending a meeting. Nonetheless, I do think that it's important for me to share some legal advice to you about information that I received and that the Chief Financial Officer received related to this item. And even though I don't believe the Open Meetings Act applies to this meeting, out of an abundance of caution, in the remote chance that a court would ever find that the Open Meetings Act does apply, I want to suggest that we go into executive session under 551.071. It's to receive the legal advice. So that's my recommendation, that we go into executive session under 551 for this particular item. Item number 3, discussion of proposed one-time stipend to eligible Laredo College employees funded by the U.S. Department of Education, Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund,
Okay.
and other sources, including discussion of
Committee
the public
members,
purpose.
what are the wishes?
I'll motion for that.
Okay.
Based on legal advice,
Yes.
I second that motion.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second, and as per legal advice, we'll go into executive session at this time.
Thank you. Hey, Counselor, may we include Ms. Maris? Even though she's not a
My
member?
question is, can Ms. Maris go even though that we are in executive session? I know that, as long as she doesn't participate, but she is a member.
I don't want to cause any issue. I was just here as a spectator to put my 2 cents worth, to the committee. Why I put the agenda item and for the discussion on the parameters, perhaps of how much of a stipend, if that was the case. So that's why.
I think it would be okay for Ms. Maris to join us.
Okay,
But
good.
can just to know, she could discuss with us to give us her.
Yes,
Her-
in
her point of
executive
view.
session, you can invite individuals who you believe are necessary
Okay.
for discussion.
Excellent.
I amend my motion to include Ms. Maris and legal
I
counsel.
second that motion.
As amended.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if it would be all right, Chief.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Cynthia?
Yeah, of course. Have you not been here before?
Huh?
Have you not been here before?
Well, tomorrow I know for sure I'm gonna be getting out at what, 2, 3?
Yeah, probably. I'm already in trouble for that. Sit wherever you like. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We have reconvened from executive session. Discussion took place, no action took place, and we will continue with today's agenda for the Finance Committee meeting. Chair would also like to recognize Ms. Tita Vela as present. So we will continue with agenda item 3, which is discussion of proposed one-time stipend to eligible Laredo College employees funded by the U.S. Department of Education, Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, and other sources, including discussion of the public purpose served. Chair recognizes Mr. Vela.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Administration will be working on the details and also working with legal counsel on some of the items that were discussed in executive session to present tomorrow at the board meeting.
Thank you.
Any members of the committee have any questions for Mr. Vela?
No,
All right.
sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vela. We will move on to agenda item number 4, which is the approval to extend collection agency contract. Mr. Vela.
Yes, this item is requesting approval to extend the collection agency contract with Conserve for 1 year. This is the last renewal that is allowable under the contract. The original contract was a 3-year contract with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms. Again, this would be the last renewal. The terms of the contract do not change, same terms. We do have a negotiated fee that the debtor will pay collection fees of 21.95% on primary placements, 25% on reassigned placements and litigation accounts. And if we do not have an existing financial agreement with a debtor, those fees pass on to the college, and those fees are 18% for primary placements, 20% for reassigned placements, and 23% for litigation accounts. Currently, right now, we have suspended sending out accounts for collections due to COVID. As a matter of fact, all student accounts that we had during this time frame were written off using HERS money.
Do we need to make a motion on this for approval?
No,
No.
not at this moment, not during committee. Do any members of the committee have any questions?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Vela, just one question in regards to this being the last year for renewal. Is this something that you would recommend that we, instead of renewing, we go out for bids, or we just continue on with this contract?
For this 1 year, continue, and then we do have already on our calendars to go out for an RFP. Even though we were not, if the option is not to renew the agreement, the collection agency will still continue collecting on those accounts that had already been referred for collection. So they'll continue those efforts. But our recommendation is to go ahead and extend it for this last year and then issue out an RFP.
Okay,
Question.
thank you very much. Chair recognizes Mr. Rangel.
Yeah, you said they had a 3-year and then with a possible 2-year, 1-year extension, right?
That's correct,
So
sir.
they've
Yeah.
been working with, if they get approved with this one,
Your
they'll be
microphone.
working with us for,
This will be their
The
fifth
fifth
year. Yes, this will be their 5th year.
and after that, have they worked with us in previous, it's on? Do they have previous years before that?
No, sir. Actually, again, we did an RFP, and they were the agency that won the award. So we've been, again, 3 years with them, and then the 2 extensions. Prior to that, it was a different company. I
Okay.
don't remember the name of the company, but yeah, this was a new contract that we awarded back.
That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. We will move forward with agenda item number 5, approval of information technology support and maintenance fees as approved by the fiscal year 2022 budget. Mr. Albert Chavez, floor is yours.
Good evening, Chairperson and board members. Albert Chavez, for the record, Director of Information Technology. I'm requesting approval for this particular item. It is the Texas Connection Consortium Maintenance Agreement, which is a yearly renewal. Texas Connection Consortium, also known as TCC, it's an organization that provides patches for our banner student information system, so we can generate reports that meet the state of Texas requirements. This particular item is already budgeted, so we're just requesting for the item to be put on the board agenda for approval.
Any members of the committee have any questions for
What's
Mr.
the
Chavez?
dollar amount or the dollar figures,
the-
Mr. Chavez?
The dollar amount is $319,416.12.
Is there a price difference from the year before?
No, it's a yearly agreement
Yearly
with the.
Do you
same
think
amount.
it is reasonable? That's a sizable dollar figure.
It is, but this particular consortium, it's composed of multiple colleges and universities from the states, and that's the negotiated rate that the colleges pay based on the size of the school.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. We'll move forward with agenda item number 6, which is the approval of contract for course syllabus management platform. Mr. Cesar Vela.
Thank you. Cesar Vela, VP of Finance for the record. This next item is we are requesting board approval for a 5-year contract with Intelidemia, Inc. in the amount of $65,550. And this is for a cloud-based course syllabus management platform. We did issue out a request for proposals. We did have only one company respond, and that was Intelidemia, I'm sorry. The software that we are acquiring is to be able to manage the course syllabus information online, review the progress, and archive syllabi quickly and efficiently. And this is being done to comply with House Bill 2504, which requires us to post the syllabus information on our webpage. So this will make it easier for our instructors and our students to get that information. Again, the total cost is $65,550. The first year will be paid using HERF funding, and then for years 2 through 5 will be part of the general operating budget.
Any members of the committee have any questions?
No, sir.
One question, Mr. Vela. So only, I'm not going to ask you to repeat the name of the company, but since they're the only one that submitted a proposal, is there not enough competition out there with regards to syllabus management platforms?
There are other companies. I really don't know why they did not submit a proposal. We did post a proposal online and on with the state at the state level. We only got a response from Intelidemia.
Okay. And we've worked with them before?
No, sir. This would be the first.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. We'll move forward with agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action on obtaining internal auditing services. Mr. Cesar Vela?
Yes, this one item, we are looking, question came up looking and exploring at options of obtaining internal audit services. We have been looking at 2 different options. One of the options is to have an in-house internal auditor's office. There is a cost for that, and we have calculated that in order to have an internal auditor's office internally would cost around $300,000 a year. $216,000 of that would be salaries and benefits for the staff. We would be looking at one internal auditor, a staff auditor, and an assistant. The other option that we've looked at is contracting out for internal auditor services. We did reach out to our current auditor, and they do provide internal audit services. However, because they are our external auditors, we would not be able to call them also or engage them as internal auditors. But they do provide the option of if we do have an area that they want us to look at, we could have a separate engagement, and they could come down and do that particular office or area. And again, the cost would depend on the amount of work that would be done at the specified rates.
On that last
Chair.
comment that you made, Mr. Vela, when you say, is that, I guess, request something that comes from the administration to conduct an audit, or is that something that would come from the board?
It could be from, in reality, it could be from the board, the
Okay.
Finance and Audit Committee. If there's an item that the Finance and Audit Committee would want to review, we could engage our external auditors to do that. We could also issue out a request for qualifications for internal audit services. However, looking at the cost, it would probably, depending, and again, it's hard to come up with a cost at this moment because depending on the scope of work, but the typical cost would be 4 times the cost of the annual external audit. So currently we're about $80,000 is costing for the external audit. So we're looking at about $320,000 for an audit. But again, the option that we feel would be the best option is to identify items that the board or the Finance and Audit Committee would want us to review, and we could engage our external auditors to conduct those reviews for us. And those
Chair-
would be separate engagements.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Chair recognizes Mr. Rangel.
Yes, and on that end, I guess, touching on if we would get somebody to be employed by us, would that auditor be directly underneath the board? Or
Yes.
under you or the
No.
president?
It would be a position that will report directly to the board.
Okay, my next question is, if we would subcontract work, would this how would we be able to communicate what we would want? Would that have to be like an executive session? Would that have to include the president, or how would that work?
Typically, the way it works is when you engage a firm to conduct an internal audit, is the first step is they come in and do a risk assessment. And they'll identify areas where there's high risk, areas that may need attention. And from there, they'll develop an audit plan. And then that information will be shared with the Finance and Audit Committee and the board. And then from there, the items can be addressed. But the first step, typically when you engage on something like that, is they'll want to do a risk assessment to identify those areas that would.
Chair recognizes Ms. Vela.
We have had one before. How long did we have one for? For quite some time.
It's been a while, Ms.
It's
Vela.
been a while.
Yes.
It's
Why did
been
we
a
get
while,
rid of
but
them?
we did have one before.
Mhm.
And most places do have an internal audit. And basically what they do is just to make sure that money's being spent the way it should be, and that there's no shuffling, whatever it is,
Mhm.
just make
Very
sure.
true.
And it's accountability and transparency for us and for the college.
And for the
Actually-
public.
And
Why did we get rid of the internal auditor?
It's a
Or
long
maybe not
story.
we, but
It's a long story. And actually,
Okay, that's it.
all right.
and actually,
Wait,
if I may.
Nobody likes them. Nobody likes an internal auditor. I don't care who it is. It could
Of
be me,
course.
and you wouldn't like me.
And,
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
That
let's
would
be
be
real.
difficult.
Nobody's gonna like anybody, whoever it may be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
If
Yeah,
I
mean,
may,
you ask
uh,
staff's
I
gonna
mean,
tell you.
they're not gonna. No one's gonna like them. So
If I may,
Well, one quick thing. If that happened in the past, what is going to be done differently this time around in order to avoid that from happening again?
yes, and that's where I was gonna head to. If I may, it's very important that when an auditor is engaged or hired, it's important that, again, we understand that they're here. It's a good thing because they're here to look at areas that we may not see.
right.
And the misconception is that it's all just the finances, but there are other operations.
Mhm.
There are other efficiencies that they need to look at. For example, and I'm just going to use the financial aid office, they handle thousands of transactions.
Mhm.
And it is a very important office
Mhm.
because they have to really make sure that all those applications, all those verifications are done correctly. So this is where the internal auditor comes in. Their team come in and review those type of transactions. If they see that there are mistakes or there are processes that are not efficient, that's where they come in and they make recommendations. I think that the last time that we had an internal auditor, I think that part was missing, the recommendation part. It was more of, okay, there's a finding here and
Mhm.
I'm gonna report it and,
Mhm.
but again, they gotta work with it's a team effort then.
So,
Chair recognizes Mr. Rangel.
so then, this item is to approve either or?
I'm gonna,
Mm,
if
no.
I
I
mean,
may,
what
I'm gonna
exactly
refer
is it?
to.
Is
Look
it, is
into
it
it.
just
Just
to
start
let us
looking
know, hey?
It's just discuss and explore options, and again, the board,
And just for the record, and if I could refer to legal counsel, even though the agenda item states discussion and possible action on obtaining internal auditing services, no action will be taking place during committee, correct?
Right.
That's correct, sir,
No,
yeah.
not-
That is actually agenda item wording that will appear on the agenda for tomorrow night's meeting. And you could tomorrow night decide not to retain an auditor or request additional information and a variety of things. You have options with that wording.
Understood. Thank you. Does any other committee members have anything else to add?
It'll be in the item. It'll be on.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
To take
That's
action.
I
On
think-
tomorrow's agenda.
Everything's on there tomorrow, don't worry.
yeah.
I know. Be ready. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning.
All right, well, thank you very much, Mr. Vela. Greatly
you.
appreciated. And that will end the agenda. If I could have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:41 and we are adjourned.